Oh, snap!
We're snapping at every topic that makes your fingers snap. Guys, please don't mind that background. She might like dance with her bike and stuff. Don't mind. Like really don't mind. It's a child.
It's 2025.
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. We've made it.
Yes.
We've made it.
Yes, man. Coming back. This is our first video for 2025.
Yes. We were meaning to do it last year, but guys, we had to rest.
Yeah.
And I didn't even like get off at work. I've been working the whole December. So we needed the break, but we're here. Guys, please down below write us what is your word for this year. Let us know. Share with us. What is your word for 2025? Like, no, I'm not choosing any word. I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah. Do we have a word?
We do, but I don't want to share it. Oh, come on, you want to share and then you jinx it.
Jinx it,
okay. Do you have a word?
Not really.
I feel like we have 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Like every day there's a new word.
It's nothing wrong manifesting or motivating yourself, but
But I don't think we came with a word and said this is the word for the year.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we have words for every day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my name is Domi Toto, Mrs. T, Zugo, whatever you like, and this is
Sipo Toto. Yes.
My lovely husband.
Yes.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet.
Yes.
So what is the topic for today?
So today we're speaking about something that I think most of us can relate to. It's stopping dysfunctionality in our homes.
What does that mean?
I think the word dysfunctionality just says
it. Says
it's
it
just
all.
chaos. It's something that's not supposed to be functioning like this, but it's functioning it's just dysfunctional, it's not going up according the way that it's supposed to be going. And I think as people, we do come from dysfunctionality homes, and I don't think our parents or grandparents or people or us as siblings, we planned to come from dysfunctional homes, but one way or the other it does happen, Yes. But one thing that I think we have realized, having to look at our lives, is that thing can easily pass to generation,
and so, we're not even aware of that.
So I can bring my own dysfunctionality from my own home, Ndombi can bring her own dysfunctionality into our own home, and then we create another dysfunctional home.
And then it just passes from, oh my God, look at this child.
So it can be the part of stop, like we are coming to a point saying, look, man, we are coming from dysfunctional homes, and we're not blaming that situation, because at times you could feel that maybe they don't know what they were doing, or they did know but they didn't understand the effects. Sometimes we ourselves we contribute from that, but I think when you start your own space, what dysfunctional traits that do you want to stop? In fact, all of them. But how do you stop at dysfunctional home not to come through to your own home or to your own life? Or at some point, at some stage, I think as people, we need to get to the point of saying, look, man, this is the way I draw the line for dysfunctionality, whether it's in a group of friendship or whether it's in a family or whether it's in the workplace. This is how I draw the line and stop it.
You're so smart.
Oh.
I love it. I'm married to this.
Yeah. So that's the topic for today. Speaking about it.
Yeah, that's the topic for today. But before we do get started, please do like, share, and subscribe. Guys, thank you so much for our loyal subscribers. And this year we have to get monetized. So back to the topic. What do you understand about this, or do you have a background of dysfunctionality?
I think I do, and I don't think whether they were like at home or were intentional or unintentional. And some of the things were it was normal because it was happening to the society. For example, I think the abuse of alcohol in our own families, I think that contributes to dysfunctional families. But we are not aware because everyone does it. We community, like we all.
It's like a norm.
It's a norm thing, but we don't understand how much it contributes. Like I think at times, we get to a point where we abuse alcohol, and by the time that we want to stop, we don't even know about but with background that thing was accommodated. The part of I think emotional abuse is there in families.
Yes.
I think as siblings we do emotionally abuse each other.
We don't call that out.
And I think it's also the arrogance of, have you ever been in a situation whereby your own family member is not nice to you, but they are nice to strangers. You know, and it's not so when you look at the person, it's a part of saying it's not that they can't be nice, it's not that they can't
but
be,
they choose.
but they choose because you could see them being nice to their own friends, to the strangers out there. But now in the 80, look, man, we are family. So what?
So what?
Even if we argue, even if I say things that I'm not supposed to say to you, tomorrow you're still my brother, you're still my sister, I'm still your child, you're still my mother, you're still my father. You know, I think we do emotionally abuse each other. And also it's the part of favoritism just happens on another level. You know,
that causes dysfunction.
Exactly, you know, and it's the part of like we are here, things are like this. So what, you know? Also I think the part of it's the part of, you know, if you have if there's a, what do you call this thing, a blended family, which is thereby there's mom, there's dad, there's brothers and sisters, but you know, half brothers, half sisters.
Yes.
You know, like if like when this blended family, you know, there could be abantwana bakamama notata, but nah, this is my mom, but my dad is out there. So this is my stepdad or my sister.
Or
so,
sometimes they could have even been passed away.
Yeah.
And it so happened your mother remarried.
Exactly, you know. So that also becomes a blended family. That's a blended family, by the way. But in blended families, dysfunctionality can happen, you know, because it's the part of the treatment is never balanced at times.
Yes,
and we
never
never
balanced.
speak about things, you know, things can happen, you know, and the other sibling can be just treated differently, and the others are treated differently, you know, and things are not communicated why that thing is done, you know. And I think for me, the one thing that hurts about dysfunctionality is to see it. The more secular, the more equaler now. You know, like the more of months, but I thought maybe at some point we were gonna stop this. But months, but year graduate, it becomes something else. It becomes something else, and we're like, so yeah.
But imagine if it was like spoken about it at the first go, it wouldn't have grown gradually and stuff. And for me, I just want to start at this point of the emotional, like, is it emotional abuse or what? But sometimes this is like not speaking about blended family, just in general, the emotional abuse. Sometimes as siblings as well, there is like emotional abuse, and I feel like as parents we don't call that out, or we don't sit our kids and explain, but listen, this is wrong. If you do this, like till life, we don't call those things out.
Yeah, it's like what our parents need to do, and we need to do to our own children, is to be able to identify who is the bully amongst our children or any siblings, because we are so quick to find out bullies in school. We can call ubani ibully esikolweni okanye ubani emsebenzini ibully, or in the community, or in the church,
in the household.
But in the household we do have brothers and older sisters who are bullies.
Yeah,
and
you know, you see, like I remember, like in a sense of, I grew up to a point that I was like, I cannot wait to leave home because a certain thing, attribute, or a certain behavior is not being called out, you know. And the day I left home, I felt like a breather, and to a point that certain person I always avoid because I know where it's going to lead.
And akomduzongani.
Or even if when ukhona they can't handle it because this person has been doing it since they were born. So now it has grown.
Who they are now.
That's who they are. It's embedded in them. So, and then I would find also my other siblings are also doing the same thing to avoid that. And that that you only choose not to be surrounded this type of certain sibling because of that emotional abuse that the parents didn't call out, even though you were communicating it. But this, but now it becomes an issue, and it goes from, let me say, from the next generation to the next, and you think that it is correct to do that. So I feel like as parents, I don't know if it was a parents yabanda bakdala, but communicating about things like emotional abuse, they felt so uncomfortable speaking about it. Like if they also felt uncomfortable about that. I don't know why. But I remember I was an affectionate child, and I remember saying to my mom, and I could see my mom like she used to struggle saying it. She said, I'm more of a person, acts of service. That's
Yeah.
how I show you love. But also, that thing was never sat down to say, listen, I love affection. When I'm an acts of service person. So I think like as family as well, to avoid emotional abuse or into Chile, let's sit down as families, even if it's every Wednesday. How do you feel, Tipo?
Yeah.
How let's speak so that we can have a functional family.
Yeah, and I think it's also the part of I think in families we, for the sake of peace, we keep quiet.
Yo,
You know,
say that again.
but ukhona umuntu ophelayo.
Yes.
You know, okanye bakhona abantu abaphelayo. But for the sake of peace, we
and mentally,
yeah, you know,
and mentally.
and I think once you become an adult, you know, it's your duty to call out that space. It's your duty to make, like, look, man, it can't be peaceful when there's one person who's not feeling good. Yeah, so once we reach to the point of being an adult, when I know that Ntombi is hurting, but for the sake of peace, I'm going to let my sister do what she did to her. That's not peace. I'm actually now hurting her and supporting that person. So I think we need to get to a point stopping this dysfunction. And sometimes we can't change our background. We can't change the people that grew up with. But in our own space, we can start something new. And I think that's what we are speaking about here. To say, look, we're not necessarily going to go back and to our families and change that and change who they are.
Too late,
no, you can't change people. But I'm saying for Tina and
in
for our children, for new group of friends we're gonna enter into, we need to have that as people. We need to work in that final ways. Look, man, for the sake of peace, we're not gonna keep quiet. This thing is wrong. It's here and here and here, so that person can express themselves. Because I think sometimes when you're offended, sometimes it's not even the person who's offending you that hurts you. That person hurts you, but it's people. And then that's where the betrayal you feel it. I'm like,
problem is,
oh, you guys cover me, like you had the powers to cover me, because you see I couldn't fight for myself. And then tomorrow it's like we family. Tomorrow we are friends. We still need to go. Like, I think those are some of the things that we, especially in our space, we call those things out. With our own children. Because it's a part of teaching them. We always say,
just be kind.
I've always had a problem with this statement. So then you to cut you off. That says family over everything.
Someone actually wrote that on Facebook this year. Yeah. Blood is not thicker than your mental health.
Family over everything. And you're like,
at what cost, guys?
The things that families have done to each other.
At what cost?
And there's no apology. You're just gonna continue, So I think it's things that ungafuna ukuqhubeka nazo, ungafuna uzibona zisenzeka to your current state, So that one is definitely on top of
the list.
Stopping dysfunctional homes.
Yes.
Like bullies must be called out.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they must be rejected. It doesn't mean that like you're no longer part of this. No, I'm just able to be like, look, man, making people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Ukhona abantu abathi xa bethetha athi hayi ke niyandazi, I call it as it is.
Okay, ndizalwe ndinje.
No. If into inje, like, look, there's nothing wrong with pinpointing something, but how you pinpoint it is important. You need to be sensitive with those abanye abantu. But like, look, you can call someone out without embarrassing the person.
Yes.
You can say I am not happy without hurting other people's feelings. You can still like they can still hear you, but that's what. But we have those type of families, friends. But hi guys, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Be sensitive. Because and I think what people don't understand, you never go back to your family.
That's the thing.
You or even if you are in your family, but there are people that you avoid with family. There are people because you're like, this is the only way I can defend myself from the pain is to move away. Which is sad, man. It's sad
and I also,
to end family like that.
Sorry to cut you. I also saw on Twitter, people were like, they were speaking about how they were cutting off like their parents, and siblings. And to read the comment section, it's actually sad. And on top of those lists, it was that emotional abuse or it's never enough. It's never enough and stuff, But adding on top of that, another thing like that causes dysfunctionality, not being able to apologize or identify when you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think at times when like ikhona laa nto uthi ucela uxolo for the sake of cela uxolo, but also pinpointed so that you don't do it again. And I think we grew I want my kids to have an environment where they are able to apologize when they're wrong. They are even able to note when they've done something wrong. And sometimes I feel like we even sat in friendships or spaces or even with families where, but this is wrong, but the person continues, or they just brush it off. And it's so sad. We sit with people at times, they don't acknowledge when they're wrong. We must just brush it off. But and it's tiring. And I think that type of attribute, it's not something I want to bring in my home, even in the spaces that I am. I don't want to be surrounded with people who don't acknowledge ba lento I right. Like, let's say they just swear at a car guide and we must keep quiet. I right. Apologize say sorry. So like that's another dysfunctionality which I don't want to bring in our household. Even with us, I must be able to say like Baba, I'm sorry. Let's create a culture of learning how to apologize and noticing into wrong.
And I think it's also this part we say and I'm also had to learn this thing. When someone says, look man, landu yenzileyo, it hurt me. Suba go position of justifying it.
Yes.
Because our feelings zakhe ayizo feelings zakho.
That's
so you can't say, landu no, yeah, inkulu kuye, incinci kum, because it's different. Yeah, but so now I've also had to learn that when you apologize to people, don't be like, yeah, what about landu needs? Like, oh no, kumbela londo. No, like it hurt the person. Like kuye into enkulu, I'll go with feelings zakhe. So we need to be notified. So I think we need to get to that point, like when you are apologizing, apologize to a point of don't overlook pain on your own, because sometimes you tend to be like, people are in the needs, how can you be? But seriously, views zalamdu, feelings zalamdu, you know? And yeah, that was on that point.
Yeah.
And I think also the other one that we were speaking about, it is another part of dysfunctionality. It's a part of, I think there are society issues. Sorry.
You can continue then.
Okay, so the other part is a part of their society issues that do happen with society, such as alcohol, fighting, those things are normal, but I think they do contribute to dysfunctional homes, and I think moving forward, I think in our own spaces, we need to be able to say, look, we can drink alcohol, but let's have rules about it. Do we drink in front of children? Let's agree as a couple, if we do drink in front of the couple, when we've crossed the line, when do we, if we don't drink, do we allow people to come into our homes to come and drink? If that's not the point, how comfortable are we with alcohol, in front of our children? We need to make those decisions. Yes. And then we need to be able to communicate respectful to other people, say, look, man, we have nothing against alcohol, but we don't drink in our own home. So we don't want that alcohol in front of our children. So if you're coming through to a party that we're hosting or like just like 5 hours, Nicole, and can you respect that? If it's too much for you, not
smoking.
Smoking. But if it's too much for you, then it's fine. Don't come. We understand. We are not judging you. Yeah. So even smoking, even like language of swearing. Yeah. But like, look, my our it's fine. But in this space, are we comfortable with that language? If we're not, let's agree. Let's teach our children and anyone who comes through respectfully. So look, man, you're coming into our space. It's we're asking for this and this and this and this. Is it possible for you to respect that? Not it when you're going to your space, we will respect it. I think it contributes to
the dysfunctionality.
Yeah, just trying to move away from it, dysfunctionality at times. Yes. Yeah, but it's the same thing with relationships. Like if you're gonna come into our space and there's because this has happened, like someone's got a partner and we are hosting just a gathering. Now bona enye ntombazana apha. You see, now using our space to cheat on your partner. You see,
and Tina, we know that
other lady. Now you have to figure out bona omnye sihleli naye, crossing the lines.
Tina, we must support
that thing. But even in our own families, like xa ifikile uncle okanye so and so, we know that auntie is there, but he comes here at home to cheat here, and we must all be quiet because
I have
He's
a
the
baby
big man.
cousin who always tells the aunties which are extra, but number 3.
Yeah, man. What? So even if it's a girlfriend, we need to be able to call us like, look, man, abantwana bazi wow, sis, you know, abamazi. Unless by that one is over, then bring this one, but don't do it in front of. Yeah, but I think there are some things that we just need to be able to say, we don't support this. This is part of dysfunctionality.
Yeah.
Not like, I think there's nothing wrong pursuing for change.
There's nothing wrong.
For positivity.
And let's make it like
normal.
And I think I think I have 2 more things like causes dysfunctionality. Family. When something wrong was done, it could be any type of abuse, and then we have to keep quiet because of family. And then you worry when Osipo has mental issues when they're growing up. It's because of those certain things that was never addressed. And basically, sifihla a narcissist or into ethile apendlini or kubona into ezinjalo. And then I feel like that also contributes because the people that knows like afuna usondela kumuntu othile because I know, but also it shows a bit of your personality. Why are we hiding into wrong? And I think as we're growing up, we should have a society where or families where we need to stop hiding into wrong. If we do wrong, they need to be punished for that, you know, and stuff. And there was also one I wanted to say, but it's gone now. Maybe you should speak, it will come back.
Yeah, I think also on those parts, it's the part of, look, no one is perfect. Yeah, man. And I think speaking about things helps us to be like, to say, look, there's no one who's perfect, but what is not right is to just keep quiet. Whilst in this has and then people are just coming with their own conclusions, It's not. Yeah, but there are so many uncomfortable things, but they need to be said. In order for us to move forward. Hence, I'm saying, whatever we're saying here, don't expect us that we're going to go back and fix it in our own families. Yes. We can't. It's late. But with this space that we are in, we can't go and change the friendships we were belonging in. But these new friendships we belong in, we need to be able to say, look, guys, we can be friends, but this is what we bring to the table.
Guys, like, I got a choma. Like I think I've been in friend, and sometimes I would keep quiet, and then I would come back to entertainment. I could write into Tutongba, and you could see that person, they don't see anything wrong, and I so wish I communicated those things at that. And if I communicated isaqala, they would have never yakhula lanto yabo to the society. And you like,
sometimes let's say times by 4, you know, still as friends, and then one friend decides to go. Now we're speaking about that person. You know, like, hey, whatever. Like, it's someone like, hey, let's suppose, but for me, if you are missing these things, so what type of friendships do we do then? That's not healthy. So at least when you are belonging in that environment, you should bring a positive change, you know? And I think also it's the part of dysfunctionality, it's the part of children. You know, like if we are married, having done outside, we got married when there's a child, but that child is staying with their mother or with their grandmother. That can, if not handled properly, that can contribute.
A dysfunction. It could be us causing it, or the other way around, or even the people around causing it. So you also need to be very sensitive on how it is carried out. Because I remember we had a similar situation like that at home, and the thing is, the child was not the issue, but it was the people around that caused the dysfunction. And I'm like, bruh, the people who are married here, they don't have an issue. They don't, like, they're just causing all the havoc to a point that we ended up fighting with my sibling. When we spoke about it, it's like, bruh, why did we even fight about this? And the way we love one another. And you're like, bruh. Sometimes you shouldn't also let other people's dysfunctionality contribute dysfunctionality in your own household. That's what I learned.
Yeah, I mean, I think on that one, I think as people in maturity, the part of this is how society is handling this thing of stepchildren and but this is not how we handle it.
Yes.
I think it's not about look up in this wrong. You know, sometimes Ndombi is married to me, then I have a child with someone outside. But so now Unomi is gonna treat her based on how other people treat those. Now I respond based on other, like how this thing and then they come up with your own original
like
way on how we can
handle
it. Yeah, you're like, sugar baby mamas are baby mamas. why are you even copying
That
those
time they're
terms?
not
Why are you
even
even
the
copying that
same.
attitude? That lady is not even that toxic.
Even bothered.
Not even bothered by that.
Like,
But
ufuna sisebenzisane qha.
yeah, but now like, ndiyabazi baby mom, ndiyabazi ndibazela ekhaya okanye ndibazela kwiitshomi zam. You read something on social media. This is how baby moms should be handled. Like the other person does not even behave like that. Yeah, but now awufuna usebenza original. It means okay, look, sizahendisha ngohlobo thina le nto. See how it works. Maybe it's gonna work. I think sathanda ukopa it traits as wrong as a society.
And apart from that, sometimes just as in general as well, we don't leave room for mistakes. But actually Sipan's mistake and they'll apologize. Okay, so let's do this also now. We're always looking for perfectionist. Sometimes perfection, like it won't be found.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we need to have an environment where we learn how to apologize, you know, learn how to do better next time, you know, and stuff. But I also think Nanzani dysfunction communication, we don't communicate with our families. We don't communicate like even in friendship holistically, and I think that has contributed a lot in the society for dysfunctionality.
If I would ask you this question before we close, are you interested in going back to your families, whether it's your father's side or mother's side, and fix the dysfunctionality? Because for me, I kind of feel like what has happened in the past has happened in the past. We can still be family members, but I understand why it's happening because society at times and different generation born and upbringing it. But I feel like upper Glen family, like we can still start something new.
Okay.
So
I know. I can start it. Yeah.
You know, because the reason I'm raising this thing, I think we spend so much time trying to fix the past, you know. But at times, you know, abantu create a lifestyle, you know. But going forward, what can we do not to?
I don't know. I wouldn't, because I feel like it will also drain me emotionally.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't change people. You can only change people who want to change. And what I can do and control is my family. How my family is going to move. How
your current family, like now.
Yes,
yeah.
this family. Then I can fix that. But
But someone can say, like, you still have to function with those people. You still need to go to Christmas events. You still need to go to birthday parties.
But I choose. For example, like if let's say Bona, they drink and stuff, they swear and stuff, I choose not to go because I need to bring my kids in that environment and we don't drink. So you choose. Yeah, but it's a choice. Yeah, type of vibes. But maybe guys, please list the dysfunctionalities that you guys do have, and what do you want?
What do you think is the solution?
What do you think is the solution for you guys, and so forth?
Yeah, because for me, I'm not going back and fix it. I think it's peaceful. Yeah, well, but also I think one thing, you have the power to say no. Sometimes don't even explain it. Just keep quiet and move on.
The action says more.
Yeah, but especially outside with spaces are like, I'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
you know. But sometimes for someone who's still in that space, so you stay with that family, that can be hard.
Yeah, it can be crippling.
Hard. So
and I feel sorry. But guys, mental health this year, we're putting it first. Nothing is more than your mental health.
Even at work.